And everyone's got a
Yeah.
different style of humor. We know that. Some people are a little more dry, some people are sarcastic. And you cover 4 different types in the book: stand-up, sweetheart,
Yes.
magnet, and sniper. Can you walk us through those quickly so people can self-identify?
Okay, great. And then I'm going to ask you to identify what style you are as well.
Okay, this is
so get ready.
dangerous.
There will be a pop quiz. Okay, so first is the stand-up. Stand-ups are bold, natural entertainers, not afraid to ruffle a few feathers for a laugh, love the spotlight. They are, really bold and brash humorists. Opposite the stand-up is the sweetheart. Sweethearts are honest, earnest, understated. They tend to lean on self-deprecation because they're super aware of how their humor lands on other people, and they always want to uplift others. Next is we'll go to the sniper. So snipers are dry, sarcastic, edgy, witty. They are masters of the unexpected dig, that one-liner that just crushes you. They're also the hardest to make laugh. So when you make a sniper laugh, you feel really, really good about it. And then lastly is the magnet. So magnets are charismatic, outgoing, uplifting. They tend to be a bit more risk-taking with their humor. So they'll jump into characters and voices, and they'll be very emotionally effusive with their humor.
Wow.
All right, so those are the 4 styles. What do you think you are?
Oh, gosh. I mean, my heart leans towards stand-up because I'm literally in front of bright lights, and my job is to be, brash and bold in front of people. But I think my favorite approach is a sniper. I love when you least expect it, you just snipe a joke in there, and it catches everyone off guard. So I'd say that's my favorite type. But I think naturally, if you just met me, you'd probably just say stand-up. Sweetheart feels like the sweet... Like, I think everyone would be like, I'm a sweetheart.
Yeah. You think people want to be sweethearts?
I don't know. What have you found? Is there a majority of people you say fall into one category?
No, we actually find a pretty even distribution, pretty even population distribution. Also, one thing I love about the humor styles assessment, so you can go to humorseriously.com and take a quiz that tells you what your style is. One thing I love about this is once you start to know the styles, you can guess pretty quickly what someone's style is. So for example, listeners may not have heard this, but we had to pause the audio real quick because I was making too much noise with my hands, ruining everything. And George says something like, "Let the record show that my audio was perfect and Naomi messed up everything." This was like a quintessential sniper line, and I loved it so much, and it's such a reveal, right? So now I know one thing that we know about snipers and stand-ups is that they build intimacy through teasing. And so if you're a sniper, George, I know that I can sort of dig at you, make fun of you, and that'll be a way for us to build rapport with each other. If you're a sweetheart or a magnet, I might want to lean on sort of a little bit lighter, sillier humor that we can both sort of laugh about a third thing, and that'll be more connecting for us. And so this humor styles assessment is super powerful once we know our own style, once we know the styles of our teams, and ideally of our families too.
Wow. So can I guess what you are?
Yeah.
Would you fall into the magnet?
Yes.
I nailed it.
And why did you think that?
I think you've got to, it just feels like the magnet is a balanced approach to humor. While you're not afraid to take some risks, but you're also not there to tear down. And so I think there's a mix there.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to say for folks who are listening and who are self-assessing right now and thinking, okay, I'm a sweetheart or I'm a stand-up or sniper, or magnet, we are not stuck in these cubby holes of our styles. And in fact, it's really powerful, especially as leaders, to be able to shift our style. So as one example, when I was so first of all, I'll say humor and status are inextricably tied. So if you use self-deprecation as a high status individual, others will view that as status enhancing because you can take a joke, you don't take yourself too seriously, you're sort of showing your vulnerability. If you're lower status or you're not quite sure the hierarchy and you over-index on self-deprecation, that can actually decrease your status. So a simple example from my own career is when I was in my mid-20s and I was designing and facilitating these offsites for groups of executives, I was often at the front of the room as the youngest person in the room by 15 years. And I sort of had to show a certain degree of status in order to be able to hang. I really quickly found that magnet style humor was not going to work in that context. So if I was silly, if I was jumping into characters, that was going to crash my status in the room. And so instead, I leaned really heavily into sniper style humor, where I was really choiceful with what I said, and I would, take people down in sort of a lighthearted way, but it was super status enhancing for me. Fast forward 10 years, I'm teaching in the classroom at Stanford, and I remember making a sniper style joke at one of my students pretty early in the quarter, and you could feel the air leave the room. I mean, it was so uncomfortable because in that context, I was the highest status person in the room. And here I was doing what comedians call punching down. So making fun of someone of lower, quote, lower status in the room. And so as a leader, it's super important for us to keep a pulse on what are our natural tendencies, what are the risks of those natural tendencies, and how do we shift our style based on the context?
That's a great point. You've got to change. It's like being a chameleon. You got to know the right times, the right environments, the right rooms to use the right types of humor. So how do you have that kind of self-awareness? Obviously, we don't want to offend people in the workplace, and it can be very touchy, and tears can be shed, and humor might not be taken the right way if I don't have a great relationship with you. So how do you figure all that out? Because some people just go, this is all just too much work, Naomi. I'm not even going to delve into these waters.
Yeah, and let the record show that George is crying while asking this question.
So many tears.
The humor is so context dependent. The one tip that has been most universally helpful for the execs that we work with is never ask, will this make me sound funny? Will this make me look funny? Instead, ask, how will this make other people feel? So recognize that the goal isn't to get a laugh. The goal is to warm up the room, to make people feel more comfortable. My dog is sleeping next to me, and he is growling in his sleep.
That is
Can
amazing.
you hear that? Is it being picked up on the microphone?
I'd heard
It's
a little bit of
thing.
noise. Now, I did see that you have a revolving door of rescue dogs. Is this one of them?
Yes. No, this was a rescue fail, actually. So, or this was a foster fail. So I fostered like 20 dogs, and then this guy came along, and I accidentally kept him forever. So
that happens.
He is indeed a foster
with
fail.
The good ones.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut us off. I just Max was snorting in the corner.
This is authentic. You're being vulnerable.
This is authentic. Yeah. I lost my train of. Oh yeah. Don't ask, will this make me sound funny? Instead, ask, how will this make other people feel? And recognizing that the goal is not to look funny. The goal is to shift the environment in a way that fosters trust, vulnerability, makes everyone feel safer bringing their full selves to work. And then, of course, there are a couple other techniques that are super practical, like never punch down. So making fun of someone of lower status, check your distance. How close are you personally to the thing that you're making light of? Do you have permission to make light of this thing? If not, let's not go there. Those types of things.
That's some good guardrails there. And another thing to ask is this helpful? Is this about me and making me look cool or funny? Or is this creating an environment where it's conducive to sharing ideas and for us to have a good time and to get the business results that we want? Because that feels like the right way to do humor in the workplace.
Yeah, totally. And for a lot of people, joking can come from a place of genuine insecurity or discomfort. And so it's really important to check ourselves. Where is this coming from? And is this in service of our goals? Because the stats that I shared earlier, I mean, humor is so wildly powerful for teams and for leaders. But we also have to check ourselves and make sure that it's in service of our goals.